I've gathered 16 secrets about the devil fruit users that will blow your mind.
For example, a lot of people find it weird that devil fruit users' powers are extended to their clothes as well. Some fans thought it's just lazy writing, but the real reason Oda decided to do it is to prevent some unnecessary scenes in a show that's mainly for kids. Also, did you know that most of the Gomu Gomu no Mi techniques and traits, especially the Gear 3, 4, and 5, are mostly based on classic American animation? Oda took inspiration from Rubberhole's animation cartoon logic and effects, as well as the powers from the show The Mask. According to the Five Elders, the world government had attempted to obtain the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika for 800 years, but they never succeeded. The Elders theorized that this might be due to the will of the fruit itself. At some point, the government changed the name of the fruit to Gomu Gomu no Mi and reclassified it as a paramecia in order to conceal its true nature. At some point, the government finally managed to obtain the fruit through unknown means. It was placed on a government ship being guarded by Who's Who, an agent of CP9, but was stolen by Lucky Rowe of the Red Hair Pirates 13 years before the main story. Who's Who's failure to protect the fruit directly led to his dismissal from CP9 and eventually imprisonment. Speaking of imprisonment, Doflamingo used his devil fruit powers to imprison an entire island. But according to Oda, Buggy, of all people, is immune to Doflamingo's Torikago, as he can easily use his powers to slip past the slicing threads to escape unharmed. But the creativity of the power system of One Piece doesn't stop there.
Before we get to it, we need to explore another thing that's insanely creative. I'm talking about today's video sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Did you know that Raid Shadow Legends is doing an insane promotion right now? Raid Shadow Legends is what happens if you crossed a blockbuster movie with a real AAA game and then squeezed it into a mobile phone. It's genuinely revolutionary. However, before we go any further, let's pause for a moment so I can tell you all about my favorite new faction in Raid, the elusive and mysterious Sylvan Watchers. The Sylvan Watchers are mysterious peacekeepers from the Tree City capital of Neressa. They follow the law of the Sylvan Court and watch the borders of the Mistwood. They're fancy, they're cool, and they'll have their own accessories, of course. With the release of Sylvan Watchers, you know there'll be a host of champions joining their roster, since, of course, what would a faction be without their champions? There will be 11 new champions to kick off the Sylvan Watchers, and my favorite one is Duden the Runic. I always liked big, bulky beasts, and Duden is checking all the right boxes. But this isn't all. Raid Shadow Legends is doing a special Valentine's Day promotion, and some of you can win a $1,000 Amazon gift card. New players can enjoy a special Valentine's Day themed adventure with the Raid Love Quest. All you need to do to get involved is to download Raid Shadow Legends from the links below, copy your in-game player ID, and then head to raidlovequest.plarium.com. There, enter your player ID and set out on this heartfelt quest running from February 14th to March 14th. Play one of the Valentine's themed mini-games for a chance to win some fantastic in-game and real-life prizes, including Valentine's Day themed Raid Champions. If you're an old Raid player, go to raidlovequest.plarium.com to find a special promo code. And if you haven't started playing Raid yet, click my link in the description or scan my QR code here on the screen. You'll get unique bonuses worth $30, including free Epic Champion Chonoru and other useful stuff. The best way to support me is to support my sponsor. So if you download Raid Shadow Legends today, you're not only getting an amazing game and insane limited prices, you'll also help me produce more videos like this. It's double the goodness and it only takes a few minutes. Go ahead and check the description of the video for more information.
The Barabara no Mi can be considered the opposite of the Gomu Gomu no Mi. While Luffy is immune to blunt attacks, unless imbued with Buso Shoku Haki in Luffy's case, Buggy is immune to slicing attacks. This is also true for the Berry Berry no Mi, which can also split its user into several floating parts when hit by blunt attacks. Furthermore, the Ope Ope no Mi can be considered an inversion of this fruit, as it can divide other people, while the Barabara no Mi divides the user. However, Law has been seen using his fruit's power to remove his own heart. While being able to split yourself into pieces might sound like a fun ability, it's not as fun as the abilities of the Goro Goro no Mi. What's weird about this power is, although Nico Robin said it's one of the powers that's considered to be invincible, we don't really see it cause too much damage to people. Imagine being attacked by a power that can literally melt rocks using electric power and only have some minor burns. Come on, Oda, stop playing it safe. Speaking of this fruit, did you know that according to Oda, Nami would have this devil fruit power if she was allowed one? Using it, she would become an invincible weather lady who couldn't be stopped by anyone other than Luffy. But Nami is not the only Straw Hat Pirate that could have an amazing fruit. Oda stated that if Zoro was allowed a devil fruit, he would consume the legendary Uo Uo no Mi model Seiryu. Although some of the Straw Hat Pirates didn't eat a devil fruit, Brook is the only one that did eat a devil fruit that defies the hardcore rules of the devil fruits. It's the only one that doesn't go back into circulation, and it's the only one with the least amount of named attacks that directly uses his devil fruit's abilities. On another note, did you know that Law's fruit is actually made from 9 different devil fruits? Well, kinda. The Ope Ope no Mi can utilize the abilities of other devil fruits, but with some differences, making him one of the most versatile fruit users in the entire series. But versatility can get you so far. Attack power is what a lot of devil fruit users are aiming for, and almost no one can beat Akainu's devil fruit, which has one of the strongest offensive powers in the entire series. Visualize this for a second, will ya? An iceberg can be instantly vaporized by the extreme heat, and any ocean that the magma happens to land in can be boiled. This power was potent enough to turn one half of an island's weather permanently into a raging inferno throughout the course of a 10-day war. Another insane fact about the Magu Magu no Mi is that it doesn't really have any weaknesses that we know of. Sure, a Haki user can hit Akainu, but beside that, even ice powers like Aokiji wasn't enough to get Akainu's attacks to lose its intensity. Speaking of Aokiji, his powers are probably better than Akainu's in some sense, because he can escape the biggest weakness of a devil fruit user, which is the sea. His ability to create and manipulate ice gives him one of the few abilities known to be able to counter the usual devil fruit weaknesses of falling into the water. All he needs to do is freeze the liquid and produce a surface to stand on. Crazy, huh? But not as crazy as Sube Sume no Mi. This Paramecia-type devil fruit allows its eaters to make their body slippery. This means that most attacks and objects will instantly slip off the user's body. This devil fruit is used by Alvida in the series, and shows up after Luffy defeats Arlong. Alvida, a foe from earlier in the series, returns having eaten the Smooth fruit, and her body went through a major change. Thanks to eating the fruit, her excess fat had slipped off her body, giving her a much slimmer physique, but still allowed her to retain the previous strength she had built when she was a much larger woman. But this isn't the craziest one. The craziest devil fruit award goes to the Jake Jake no Mi, which is definitely the weirdest of the bunch. This is a Paramecia type devil fruit. Why are all the weird powers the Paramecia type? Anyway, it allows whoever eats it to become a jacket that another person can wear. When covering an opponent with his skin jacket, they control them and gain access to all of their strengths and abilities. There's no way of telling if they can take someone by will, and there's no way of telling if this power is any good by itself. In the series, this power is used by Kelly Funk as Luffy was fighting in a competition to gain the power of Ace's former devil fruit. Kelly turns into a jacket worn by his brother to give the duo enhanced strength. Now let's jump from the weirdest fruit to the most terrifying fruit of all. And if you didn't guess by now, I'm referring to the Yami Yami no Mi. The most unique and frightening advantage of this fruit is that the user also has the ability to nullify powers of other devil fruits by simply touching the user and draining them of their abilities. All types of devil fruit, be it a Paramecia, Zoan, or Logia, are affected by this. Though Logias are most affected by it as they can no longer become intangible by transforming into their respective element. This nullification truly seems absolute, as though the devil fruit users had never gained their powers at all. This was shown when Luffy's stretching powers were cancelled on touch, unlike the effect of a body of water or Kairoseki, Sea Stone, both of which just inhibit a person from controlling their powers. It was shown earlier when Luffy was stuck underwater that his neck could still be stretched above the water's surface, and that Busoshoku Haki would simply nullify the defensive aspects of a devil fruit such as intangibility and the malleability of rubber. Speaking of terrifying powers, let's talk about the fruit that can actually destroy the entire world, shall we? This fruit's major strength is that it allows the user to generate massive vibrations or shockwaves, which can travel through virtually any medium, including the ground, the seafloor, or even the air. Because of this, it's been stated that the user holds the power to destroy the world. The fruit can easily devastate an entire island with ease, although its limitations are noticeable. It took repeated usages to come close to destroying the marine base at Marineford. In fact, Whitebeard almost failed to do so before dying, and Blackbeard almost completed the task. The claims about its power to destroy the world may refer to the after effects of the fruit, as they may indeed have the power to destroy the world. As it has been stated, even if a person retreated to the ends of the ocean, there would be no safe place left in the world. As the claims are based in fact, it's very unlikely that the claims are exaggerated and the Gura Gura no Mi holds the power to destroy the world. This devil fruit's powers are most noted to be a hazard to both friend and foe alike, as noted by both the Whitebeard and Blackbeard pirates. This is largely because although the user seems to be able to control both the magnitude of the shockwave and its point of impact, the quakes produced by said shockwaves are indiscriminate in their effects. Because of this, allies of the user must be prepared for the impacts unless they want to become unintended victims of them. This devil fruit has no apparent weakness aside from the standard devil fruit weakness. However, the three admirals were able to stop Whitebeard shockwaves from affecting Marineford's execution platform, possibly by combining their Busoshoku Haki. Also, the siege wall that Sengoku planted was composed of a material Whitebeard shockwaves couldn't shatter. And as mentioned previously, due to the fact that Whitebeard's attacks were indiscriminate in who they could hit, his allies and crewmates had to fight a certain distance away from him, giving enemies far more room in attacking him. One of the most insane fruit powers I really want to see in action is the Hito Hito no Mi model Shinigami. This devil fruit is extremely powerful, being considered the rarest type of devil fruit. This fruit's biggest strength is that it allows them to become a Shinigami or god of death. This allows them to transform into what appears to be a death god, giving them a long black cloak and skeletal features as well as an increase in size. The strengths of this devil fruit are the plethora of powers it grants the user, such as increased strength, speed, durability, the ability to create and manipulate bones, the ability to revive the dead around them, the ability to see and take souls, the ability to create and manipulate weapons, the ability to induce necrosis, and the ability to teleport. The user is also unable to die by any means besides drowning and sea stone. Also, due to their abilities and being the anti-life force or end of life, the user is immune to Haki. They cannot be sensed by it or affected by it, but in turn they cannot use it. This devil fruit does have some downsides though. The user is naturally rejected by life, meaning any creature that isn't human will not come close to them without force. Even then, it will still attempt to get away. Even plants will twist and grow away from the user or anywhere they reside. It's said that if the user stays on an island too long, all life will move from it. This makes the user somewhat of a curse, especially to farming islands. Standard devil fruit weaknesses also apply.